Listen, this one's serious. We got the first lady of UK Garage, the one and only Lisa Maffia in the building. From shutting down Iron Apple and Ibiza to becoming the only female in the So Solid crew at its peak. This ain't just about the music. This is a story about fame, pressure and survival. And we're talking about the real side of it. The jealousy from the hood, shootings, murders, and what it was like being right in the middle of it all. We go into the moment that So Solid got blacklisted, the impact it had on everyone, and how lives changed overnight. And we talk about how that era helped shape what we see today. But this ain't just about the past, because Lisa's still going strong from a platinum-selling solo career to a show on Capital Extra. She's now dropping a brand new book and a brand new album this year, 1999 to 2026. 27 years in the game, still standing, still evolving, and this is the story behind the headlines, the truth behind So Solid. And trust me, you ain't gonna want to miss this one. You've got about 21 seconds to go. Make sure you tune in and we'll see you on the other side. Let me tell you more about today's incredible sponsor, Blakey Trades. This is trading education, not financial advice, not hype, and not one of those signal groups full of screenshots and bullshit. It's focused on the gold market, but what sets it apart is the structure. You learn why trades are taken, how to manage risk properly, and how mindset and discipline actually matters if you really want to last. There are weekly Zoom calls, live breakdowns, and proper explanations, not just copy this and pray. Nothing's forced, and you're in control the whole time. If you're done guessing and want to learn how trading actually works, I'm telling you from first-hand experience, this is the business. Get involved, smash that link, and join the Blakey Trades crew, and we will see you all on the other side. Welcome back to the Terry Stone Connection, and today we're joined by the First Lady of UKG. She's an old pal of mine from back in the day. She still looks exactly the same. I don't know what her secret is, but whatever she's taking, I fucking want some. So please put your hands together for Lisa Maffia in the building. Woohoo!
What T? You just went into like a proper garage voice then. Inside,
I was going to go, yeah.
It was in there. It was in there. It's in your bones.
I was going to give it a, oh no, that's the word.
Oh,
but I didn't want Romeo coming after me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. He wants royalties.
So Lisa, it's an absolute honour to have you on the podcast. You kindly was in there, when we did our 25 years UKG documentary.
Yeah.
And it's so good to have you actually on our podcast because you've got so many things going on right now. So we've got loads to talk about. But for anybody that doesn't know who Lisa Maffia is, she was the only female singer rapper in the So Solid crew. And, back then, like I remember it so well, talking to Mega and talking to Romeo. And I don't know if I ever shared the story with you with Romeo. We did one of their...
Were you one of the first to book him? Is that right?
Yeah, because what happened was we was at... We had a One Nation party at Bagley's.
That's right, yeah.
And he was on the mic.
Yeah,
and I was walking through the garage room and I thought, geezer sounds all right. So I walked up to him and I went, mate. I said, you're really good. I said, why don't I put you on the fly next time? And he went, yeah. And he goes,
cheers, mate.
He goes, here's my card.
No, he did not. Mr.
Right.
Slick.
Hang on.
Gorons.
And guess what it said on it?
What?
You've been chosen.
No, he didn't.
MC Romeo with his number.
I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that.
When you cracking onto me and he went, no, that's for the girls. That's for the girls.
Oh my gosh.
But that was how I met Romeo. And then Romeo come to, I think we had a New Year's Eve party.
Yeah.
And Mega come.
Oh yeah.
And then they were like passing the mic around. And then we was doing obviously Garage Nation then. And I said, look, when we're doing the garage stuff, we get you on some of our garage events. And then I can't remember exactly when it was, but he rang me up and he said, yo, T, he said, just to let you know, we're launching a group called the So Solid Crew. And I said, oh, what's that then? And he said, we got all these rappers, we got all these singers, we got this girl called Lisa Maffia, and we're going to do these like sets with DJs and, MCs. And I was like,
This is cool because in the drum and
It's a
bass
niche.
stroke jungle scene,
Yeah.
that was the norm.
Yeah, that's very true.
But garage was very sort of like, dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun.
it's all soft and
Yeah.
light.
So what I'd love to know, Lisa, obviously rewinding before we get into your story and obviously the So Solid story is, was you born in London?
I was born in London, in South London, Dulwich Hospital. One of the last babies to be born there, apparently.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So you put your flag in the
Put
ground.
my flag and left.
Amazing. And growing up in South London
Yes.
back then,
Yes.
what was it like for you?
So I grew up in Brixton, single parent family. My mum raised us two girls and it was phenomenal. I loved it because I think I've been saying it a lot now that the sense of community is completely diminished. It doesn't exist anymore the way it did when we was young.
Do you think it's because of the phones or?
I think it's definitely the phones. I think it's the phones and it's the way life has become is that everybody has to be so careful and everyone has to be mindful and don't go outside. The kids are not allowed outside, so they're not communicating and they only communicate at school. But as we know, a lot of the schools are overpacked, so a lot of kids end up having to go out of their area to schools. So they never have the people on their doorstep and they never become friends with them because everyone's going separate places. And then they communicate through phones, so they don't have the need to be out. And do you remember being out when you was a kid? Like you just sort of go out, find everyone. And if you don't, you just keep on looking, searching.
And your mum would always say to you, don't climb the tree. You climb the fucking tree.
Go climb a tree. I mean, that's your entertainment. That is our Instagram. Go and climb a tree and see how many ants you can see. Do you know what I mean? But that was great. And I loved that. I loved Brixton for that. But then there was the other side that it was dark and it was scary, and we always used to be watching our back and running home. Like, as soon as your mum says, as soon as the street lights come on, you get inside. And it was your key, get inside. It's best you get inside because going home after dark is a scary place. But I think that made us resilient and I think that made us strong and wise and streetwise,
Right. Because I was having a conversation with someone recently about Brixton.
Yeah.
And they were going, oh, Brixton's such a lovely place. And I said, it fucking wasn't.
T, have you seen down there? It's taken an absolute piss. I'm sorry. But it's taken an absolute piss. There is flats on the front line where the prostitution, drugs and murders happened, selling for £1 million. I can't believe.
If only we'd have bought it.
If only we had bought it for the fiver it was.
But that was the madness, like back
Madness.
then.
Atlantic Road and Electric Avenue and Coarber Lane, Loughborough Road. Them houses are worth so much money. It's so different now. There's coffee shops absolutely everywhere. There's no market left. I think there's a tiny bit of market that goes
Loads
out.
of guys with beards walking around. It's like Shoreditch.
The culture has gone. It's just sort of like, it's wild. It's wild to see. But it was nice back then. And I had my nana across the road in Styles Gardens and I lived on Barrington Road, which is part of Loughborough Estate. I went to Angel Town Primary School. It literally was everywhere you went was someone, a family member or friend of mum's. So it was a proper sense of community. If you was ever in trouble, you could knock any door on any road and you would know someone,
And for you, when you was at school, was you academic? Did you enjoy it?
I was quite smart, Right. I don't know what happened to me now, but I definitely was smart back then. I kind of enjoyed, so I'm really a creative. I was always a creative from very young. And I really enjoyed certain lessons because of the teachers. And I think that was now I look back, I think, if only them teachers were nicer, I probably would have done better in those lessons. But I've done good in the ones that the teachers were all right. Otherwise, I'd be sort of like, yeah, I'm not doing it.
It's interesting because lots of people that I've interviewed, whether they're music artists or actors or, entrepreneurs or whatever, lots of them all fucked about school and they weren't academic.
Yeah, I was a bit of a joker.
And then they become academic.
Yeah.
I hate to use the terminology of the University of Life, but when they actually
really
got out
of
school, then they actually sort of started to pull things together and they had that sort of hustler's mentality. So
there was that saying that your mum used to always say, you're going to wish you could go back there. No, I fucking don't. I do not want to go back to school. I hated it in some frame. I couldn't wait to finish. Do you know what I mean?
The best one, I think it was my mum or my nan.
Yeah.
enjoy these days. They're going to be the happiest of your life.
Whatever.
I'm
sorry, I'm having
what are
a
you
blast
talking
now.
about? I don't even agree with that now. They were
I
not.
don't.
They were not.
I think maybe their day was better than ours. But I loved school. But I was bullied all the way through primary school. Even though I loved it. I loved school, but I was bullied the whole way through. And then it got to the last year and I just found my balls and I literally kicked this girl's ass. And that was the end of being bullied. And then I went into secondary school and someone tried to bully me and I ended up having a big fight and getting kicked out and sent to another school. I lasted, I think, maybe 6 months in Charles of the Brook. And then I went over to Norwood Girls. And then in Norwood Girls, I think I did have my day with the girls in there. And I did leave early because of a sight of bullying, because I just weren't one to have it.
Right.
Because I was bullied in primary school. I think I just got this hard exterior all of a sudden and it just put my barriers up, and if anyone said anything, it was a fight. Do you know what I mean? So I just kind of, I just weren't putting up with it. So anyone that tried it or bullied one of my mates, I was first in there. And when I left early and I went to college and studied my GCSEs there and done really well because I had time to focus. And then I done my art design and photography. And I think that was the creative screaming to do something with myself, you know. Didn't really care about much else but creativity. And then I got pregnant.
Wow.
I got pregnant at 17 and best
I
choice
didn't
of my
even
life.
know
Because
that.
I was
even know
pregnant
that.
at 17.
Wow.
I had a baby just before I was 18. Chelsea, she's now nearly 30 this year.
You don't look old enough to have a 30-year-old.
Getting there, 47 this year.
Do you know what's good though? Like for you, if you and her can go out and have fun,
I love it.
That must be cool.
We've grown together. We've really grown together. Unfortunately, my career took me away from my daughter for a while because I was being dragged up and down the country and I didn't want her to be dragged up. She absolutely hates me for it, for leaving her. She feels like she was completely neglected. But she stayed with my mum. I didn't want an au pair because I just felt somebody else's rules and their background would be my daughter's influence. And as much as my mum's an absolute nutcase, I just thought she would be the best job because I'm all right.
Yeah,
do
you
know
turned
what
out
I mean?
right, yeah.
I'm all right. Do you know what I mean? So she'll be okay with her. So yeah, I had to do that with her, and that's why things stopped. But they didn't stop because I had a market. When I was 13, I got a job on the market stall. I was a proper hustler from the beginning. And then when I had Chelsea, it was just before music. I had her at 17, nearly 18.
Did you stay with the father or did you split up?
No, we split up when she was 2. But I stayed in an offer license so that I could take Chelsea to work with me because I didn't want to be away from her for a moment. And it wasn't until she was almost 4, I'm sorry, just after 4, I started So Solid. So that's when all the touring starts. From probably about 6, 7, she had to start staying with my mum. But yeah, I was a proper hustler and I was determined to do it all, work, make a career for myself, have the baby, have the family life, find a husband, and do it all.
Did you find a husband?
I didn't. I was with somebody for a long time, which we won't talk about, T, because he's an absolute prick.
Okay.
But I was
Don't
with him for a
give him
very long. You know what I mean? I was with him for a very long time, and it just took a massive chunk of my life, and I wasted my time with him, to be honest, because he was nothing but trouble. But to be honest, it doesn't really matter now because I'm in such a good place. All those lessons have made me an incredible mum, an incredible grandmother.
Here we go. We've got an exclusive.
Yeah.
Lisa Maffia, the grandma. Who would have known that? The grandmother of Garage.
Grandma, granny. Don't let that stick. One shit.
Right. But do you know what? I don't know any glamorous grannies that look like you. So you're
there's
the
a
first.
few out there. There's got to be. Thank you, T. I'll pay you later.
So your
We'll pay
daughter.
you.
When did your daughter have? She's already.
Yeah, so she's had her baby. He's 6 now.
Wow.
Yeah, she was just 23. I think she was 23.
Because some people get a bit touchy when you sort of, when their kids start having babies. I'm not ready to be a grandparent.
Oh my God, I
And
could
you
not think
embraced
of a
it?
better time. Do you know why? Because in my head, I'm like, I missed out certain parts of Chelsea's life because of my career, so I can get in to do it again. And secondly, I'm young enough to fucking run the field with him and play some football. I'm young enough to do anything he wants. I'm fit enough and young enough, and I've got money and I've got life in me still, and travel and all the rest. Anything he wants to do, I can play that role, and I really celebrate that. Even though I keep thinking I better be a grandma at some point, because I had some of the best memories with my grandmother. And because she lived right opposite. I was there every Saturday. She lived right opposite my mum's. And we used to go there, me and my sister, and we used to go Tesco's shopping every Saturday, 10 a.m. sharp. And we loved it. We absolutely loved it. She taught us how to knit and play cards and bake cakes and make curry from scratch. You know what I mean? So we done it all with her. And I want to do that with Mason, but I don't really have time. I don't really have time because I am still very much an active artist. So I'm finding more time. I have realized that as I'm getting older, we do say a lot of the time we don't have time, but we just got to make time for it, whatever's important.
Well, I think the problem is, you get busy and anybody who's ever started off as an artist or as an actor or anything where it's hard.
Yeah.
Right. When you actually start getting it, when the phone starts ringing, you don't want to say no in case it stops ringing.
Yeah, in case it stops, because it can't it? Well, do you know what, T? To be honest, when the phone stopped ringing, I started ringing. The hustler in me remained from when I was really young. And it's just, I think that was from my mum being a single parent and we had to wait for things, She got us everything we actually wanted. Now I look back. But we had to wait for it. Like, I'm going to have to save up for that. It's one at a time. Do you know what I mean? You want those trainers? Right. You're going to have to wait 3 months. I'm going to have to save up and I'll get you it. And then your sister can get it after. I was always second because I was a little sister. Bitch. But it was that. And I think that hustle, that doing those things made me a hustler.
And also,
you can graft for it,
And also, I think for you as a kid, when your mum says, you can have them, but we got to save up, we got to wait.
Yeah.
It probably taught you the value of money.
Exactly.
And if you'd have just gone, there's a trainers, you'd have probably gone, oh great, well I'll have another pair. Do you know what I mean?
See, I was quite wealthy by the time Chelsea got of age to ask for things. But I consciously made the choice to still let her feel that hustle, that need, that weight. So I used to take them to 9 Elms boot fair. What's it called? What's it called again? Jumble sale thing.
Oh yeah, the boot fair thing.
Yeah, it's boot fair. So I used to get them to get all our old clothes, all their old clothes and toys, and whatever they sell, that's their money. And I used to put away the 2p's and pennies and change them up every 6 weeks holiday, just to show that you need to save and you need to hustle. I had it all and I could do whatever we did. We did still do ridiculous things and paid out for ridiculous amount of clothing and cars and all the rest of it and all the holidays. But I just still wanted her to understand hustle. And now she is thriving in her life, She's doing so well. So, and I think that's because I did instill those rules that I did, when I was young.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier when you went to college that then you was able to focus and do well in your GCSEs. Lots of people, obviously the bullying now has changed. A lot of it's more online than in person, but it still happens in person. But
it's even more. Don't you think it's worse online? Because you can be attacked by strangers.
Well, I think it's a hobby for a lot of people.
Oh my goodness, yeah, because they're hiding behind a keyboard. It's probably all the kids that got bullied themselves at some point,
100%. I mean, I've always been an advocate for, if you want to use social media, there should be some way that you have to identify yourself.
Yeah, I do.
So if you set up an account with, I'm John or whatever, right, and I start saying shit to you online or saying you're fat or ugly or whatever, you can then message Facebook and say, this guy's trolling me.
John
they go, right,
John Doe's doing
that's
this.
That's the guy. And they send you a message and say, fucking stop it or we'll switch you off.
Such a good idea.
I'll switch you off. And that's what should happen. But
that is such a good idea. I've never thought of that.
But then that way, all the shit stops.
Yeah.
And there's kids, and I'm sure you've read about this, that have committed suicide.
Yes.
Because they've been tormented by fucking people online, or celebrities have been fat shamed or abused, and then they've gone and fucking hung themselves. And you go, why has he committed suicide? And
isn't it Caroline Flack that went through torment and stuff, bullying?
Did you know her?
I met her a few times, but I didn't know her personally. But I met her and we said hello before.
But again, she's a great example of if you let people torment people unchecked, then that's what can happen. And
T, I opened a salon once in Margate, and one of the main things that used to sort of bugged me is that I was contributing to what's wrong with the world today, is that it's all about vanity and what you look like and what you don't look like and your size of your body and all the rest of it. So I quit on that very, very quick. You know, as soon as I opened it, I realized this is not a bit of me. Because that is part of bullying, is to say everybody's got an opinion about everyone. And these poor kids are not living the dream as we did. They're not able to just be. I did not look good when I was a kid.
I didn't either.
I looked awful. I was so skinny. And I used to have frizzy hair and this fringe of hair that used to just be like a sun ray around my head. I didn't care.
You're going to have to get me that picture.
Babe,
Someone put it in the podcast.
Right? Lilac, I remember lilac tracksuit bottoms and this dark purple top, this mauve top that I used to love. I used to wear it every day if I could. And it used to get so dirty. My mum would be like, no, you are not going out that door again with that on. But I just loved it because no one was looking. No one cared. It was just, there were bullies, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
But it wasn't like it is now.
Yeah, I mean, I was wearing, I think my mum got most of my clothes from Tesco. So
you got your best clothes from Tesco.
That's the song. That's the song. Yeah. So,
where you buy your best clothes? Na, 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 na.
Was you singing that song to someone at your school?
It was to you. It was to you too.
But the funny thing is, like, we laugh about it now, but at the time, you know, I used to get upset because I didn't want to fucking people taking the piss. I wanted those fucking trainers, you know?
Yeah.
And I think now it's even worse.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you know.
Well, it's not just your friends taking the mick out of you, it's strangers in abundance. Do you know what I mean? Online. I've had it before, like, what the fuck is that? Why are you wearing that? I'm like, who the fuck are you and who are you speaking to? Block. But kids will look at that and they will induce that and it will ruin their lives. It's awful.
So I've got a question for you, Lisa, because you've obviously been at the end of it, right?
Yes.
How do you deal with trolls?
How do I deal with them? I just think, so a lot of the time.
I thought you just said the fucking boys rat.
Yeah, well, that. I mean, it's options. But, you know, I think the main thing you've got to remember as anything in this world is that people's opinions don't really matter. I'm quite thick-skinned. I come from the industry of music. It is not easy. I've been quite fortunate to not get it too much. But there was a scenario that happened and it went online. The girl put the argument online. She lied a lot, said I beat her up and all that lot, and I didn't. I honestly didn't this time, T, I swear.
Okay.
And she put it online, you know, and I know what she was doing. She was younger. She was like 23, 24. And she was trying to get the internet's approval, following, hype. It's what they do. It's what trolls do. And I just did not respond. And for 24 hours, I'm kid you fucking not, I probably had about 30,000 inboxes from shit ass people from fake sites saying you're a black this and you're a fucking scumbag, you're a fucking druggie, you're all sorts of things, slag, whore. And I just thought, after 24 hours, I was like, it stopped. And I was like, is that what I'm fucking worth? 24 hours of abuse? Have I not done enough in this industry to get a bit more? Because it honestly, it ends because they move on to the next person because they don't know you. They're not people that buy my music. They didn't have a clue who I was, what I was about. Obviously not, because I'm not an evil from fucking scum of the earth, as some of them said. So, you know, they didn't know me. So you've got to know that these people, they only have an opinion of negativity and they do move on to the next hot topic. That is what they do. That is why these shade boroughs and those sort of sites, they thrive, because if you put negativity on top of whatever you're doing, people want to have a look. If you fall over and someone films it and laughs at you, they want to have a look. If you get beat up, they want to have a look because I don't know what it is with the social media world. They love it.
It is sad though to think that, I think reality TV, I think that there's a few things that have caused it. I think obviously social media and reality TV, because when reality TV started off, it was all about basically just making people look stupid. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it was like
sleeping with each other or fighting. It's one of the two. What one do you want?
If you look at the Jeremy Cole show,
my God.
He was obviously interviewing people and you know, we did a little video about the show and why it got cancelled. And what was interesting was when we actually was looking at some of the guests, that they actually, after they'd been on, they and they basically got humiliated on public television. They were like going, well, you know, they knew that I was mentally ill, or they knew that I was a bit daft.
Yeah.
And, you know, they knew I had a drinks problem. So when I got there, they gave me like 3 pints.
Wow.
And then put me on the stage and then told the other person, make sure you say this to him.
Wind him up.
And wind them all up. So it was just like human bear baiting. But it's the same with all of, I mean, it's changed now. But
it's hidden more now, and it's done in more of a strategic way, so we don't notice. The same as any part of the media world, isn't it? It's they do it with a sly attempt so that you don't see it happening. But it's still happening. It's just happening differently and not as much. And I think there's a lot more red tape over things that can be shown on TV, you know?
But I think the environment we're in as well, obviously everything's gone woke and everybody's a lot more sensitive.
Yeah. Too sensitive though, don't you think?
I mean, what you said earlier about growing up in Brixton, I was conceived in Brixton. So,
and then, of course you were, it's Brixton.
Yeah.
What party did she come out of?
I don't know if it was a side alley, but it was definitely Brixton.
Behind the butchers.
but they moved, because my dad used to work in Tesco's in Brixton.
Oh, right.
So we
Acre Lane one.
So yeah, the big one. The one that got smashed up when they had the riots. And he used to bounce around. So he got be the manager of the shop. So wherever he got moved to, we'd live above the shop. So we went Putney, Kingston. So we moved about. And
Kingston, look at you, went up in the world straight out of Brixton.
I was literally drinking my tea with my little finger out. You know what I mean? But I always look at my childhood and you know, I don't look back on it fondly and go, I had an amazing childhood. But I do look at it and I just think, you know, the lessons I learned and the things I went through made me resilient. You know, if someone said to you now, do you want something to piss at you what you're wearing? You say no.
Yeah.
But then all of that stuff made me go, if you ain't going to get me them fucking clothes, I'm going to go and get a job and get my fucking self. Yeah. So like you said about the hustle. So I do think the resilience and the hustle comes out of not having everything and not, you know, sometimes, like you said, you get bullied and there's normally a trigger where you get bullied and bullied and bullied. Then you just go,
switch, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like.
I just didn't want it to happen again through secondary school because it was hell. Even though I had an all right time, because when I went into my house and into my friend's circle, I was having a great time. It's just there was one girl and I just used to avoid her as much as I possibly can, but she used to take set on me, and it's just because I didn't say anything. I didn't react, and I just did not want that to happen again. So I just end up tough.
I think, you know, for anyone watching this, and this is going to be a controversial thing to say, but, you know, it is what it is. I think if you do get bullied by someone, the easiest thing to stop out is to smack him in the mouth.
Yeah, well, no, you've got to react. You've got to, because I told my teachers, I didn't tell my mum, and it was my mum when I come in and actually finally told her, and it was the very last year when I actually told her, she said, if you let her put your hands on you again, her mum and her and you are in trouble. And I just thought, oh, I don't want that. And because that fear of mum was in us. We had total respect. We weren't scared of mum, but we totally respected mum. What she says goes.
I take that back about smacking people in the mouth. What you got to do is you got to make sure there's no cameras. Give me a little body shot. Don't leave any bruises.
That do. Really hard as well.
But joking aside, you know, that was the only way to stop them because.
Yeah, because the bullies are bullying. They target the weaker species, and sometimes because I did used to say no, I'm not doing that, and then she used to drag me, so and then I wouldn't react because I weren't allowed to hit people, and I thought I'll get in trouble, and all those things ran through my mind. And she wasn't even bigger than me or anything. It was just that she took set on me, and I was a nice girl. And it wasn't until I just decked her one. That was it. That was the end of it. Right. She never even looked at me after.
But it's a bit like the trolls, right? If the trolls troll you and you respond, they keep on.
Then they keep going.
Right? Whereas if you just blank them, don't feed the trolls.
But, don't feed the trolls. She looked like a troll as well.
I don't know if you know this, but you can do something better than blocking them.
What?
You can restrict them. Do you know about that?
Oh, is that when you shadow them? But then they can still come on your profile,
It doesn't matter because they can comment, but no one sees it. So they're sitting there going, you monkey, this shit.
Talking to yourself, bitch. You are talking to yourself,
but
bitch.
that's why it's funny. Do you know what I mean? So
and
a friend of mine shared that with me, and I never even knew what it meant. But he said it's
I have seen that, but I thought that just stopped them from. I don't know. I don't think I thought about it. Right. Yeah, that's a good idea. But because sometimes just ignoring them. They just know they're just either been restrictive, they know about it, but they also know that you're just unbothered.
Right.
Whatever. Do you know, whatever, mate.
So you know, you leave school with like GCSEs. You've obviously got your, you know, you're doing this art stuff. So you know that you've got this creative thing. When did the music start for you?
So I met the So Solid Boys when I was 13, and I probably
Who was that? Was that Megan Romeo? Or was it?
Yeah, so no, I went around with a girl from my school, and she was dating Mega Man. So I was up there because of that. And then as always, I was a bit of a tomboy. I've always been a tomboy. I was always a tomboy, and I still am now when I think about it. I love a pair of trainers and a trackie. Love that. Hair back. Don't worry about it. Put a hat on. So I always just ended up the one being left with the boys.
Right.
Because I was just a boy. I loved, like, I tell you the history of me being a boy is that when I used to hang around the girls used to sleep with the boys.
Right.
And then they get rid of the girls because they want to sleep with the other girl. And the other girl goes and then there's no girls there. So to avoid that, because I was not interested in having sex at that young, is that I became boyish. So I wouldn't be looked at like that.
You're not one of the lads? You were like...
Yeah, I was one of the lads. I will be stealing the motorbike with them. I will be driving a car. I drove a car, my first car, my older friend's car, when I was 13. And stalled for 3 hours going to the shop and back. And he got my face kicked in by him because he was like, where the f have you been to with my car? Didn't have a phone, of course, because I was only 13. And I was like, oh no, I just got stuck. We're talking to my friend, and then I popped to my mum's, and this time I only was at the end of the road trying to start this fucking car. But it was what made me one of the lads. So when they were all doing crazy things, I was right there with them. So they just didn't look at me like that. It was almost like little sister, but it was almost like our little bro as well. And I was trained in tap modern ballroom dancing with my sister when I was young. And then when I got to my teens, I was like, this is just long. I'd rather go karate or play football. And I did. I started football. I started playing football for Metropolitan Police five-a-side football.
Right.
So I was just becoming the lad, one of the lads. And that's what happened with So Solid, is that I went there initially with girls, and then I ended up being there with the boys. And I don't ever think I thought of me being a musician. I just kind of probably was singing a lot more than I realized, and loving music more than I realized, because the boys must have picked up on that at some point. And G-Man asked me to put my vocals on Oh No. I was dating G-Man at the time, and he asked me to put my vocals on Oh No. And then that was the record that got signed. That was the first one that kind of got us noticed by mainstream. Yeah. So it wasn't planned. It just kind of happened. No, very fortunate.
Because I remember when we did the Emporium in Iron Upper, and that was the first time when, and I think...
Was I there? What year was it?
In 99, and I'm pretty sure...
99. And so I was there with my girls. I weren't actually with So Solid that time. I was with Mega's baby mother, that as a friend, like with our group of friends, loads of us, all of us girls, and So Solid were playing out there, like taking the mic and stuff. They weren't really, I don't even know if they were employed.
Yeah, we booked them. We booked them because we had that relationship where they'd been on the events. Of course, and then he said, I'm setting up this So Solid crew.
Yeah.
And I said, well, we're doing Emporium in Iron Upper. Why don't you be a resident? And I think when that song blew up, they was in Iron Upper. So it was literally like the planets all aligned. And back then, I'm sure you'll remember, the actual garage DJs got the didn't they?
Yeah, of course they did. They were all pissed with us.
And they were literally going like, stop booking
Not even
going
to mention names, but they were haters.
But I ended up them a lot of them off, because they were sort of going, we're going to set up this consortium.
So they tried to block us.
We need to stop these people. And I said, listen, mate, I'm not in your consortium. I don't listen to your fucking bullshit. I do whatever I want. And I said, and if that means I don't book you, I don't fucking book you. See? But I'm not going along with your narrative about keep them out.
You can't do this and can't do that.
Because I looked at the garage scene, and I come into UK Garage in 97. We did our first event at Stratford Rex.
Yeah.
And that was, I think we had about 1,800 people in, which was a lot.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that is a lot. What club?
The Rex in Stratford.
Oh, yeah.
And then we did Coliseum. Then we was doing Bagley. So we built the brand pretty quick. but I'd already done One Nation since 93. So
that's right, yeah.
We sort of went into something. And then about a year later, I'd say late 98, early 99, the crew started coming through. So you had So Solid, you had Heartless, you had Page You Go, More Fire Crew, you had all these people. And I was thinking, wow, this is mixing it up.
Yeah.
And that's why I embraced it. Whereas
what was happening before us, T? What was happening before us in the garage scene?
So the garage scene...
Who was the biggest?
It was literally just like, do you want me, baby? It was that sort of music. And then there'd be an MC that would go, put your hands in the air. Ooh, like DT, like woo, you know what I mean? So there was a lot of woos. And there was
fun fair hosting.
And it was like, the sexy girls in the venue, and they'd all go, they'd build a champagne crew.
So it's hosting more than MCing.
So it's not really rapping or MCing.
Yeah.
So it was more of the music. But I got into UK Garage, I think it was around 95, 96, when it started off, and it was very small. And on a Sunday, they used to do a night at the Gas Club. And they play.
Wow.
Yeah.
That gives you chills. Jesus.
Yeah. So Andy Swallow used to do that.
Yes.
Who had the Bella Blanco and obviously discovered Craig David and, all these people, Artful Dodger. So for us, that was their Sunday night thing. Because obviously I was doing the drum bass jungle stuff. So on a Sunday night, it was like, let's go out.
Oh my God, what jungle race did you? Because
One
that's where I
Nation.
started. It was One Nation.
Don't
Did you do anything else? Yeah,
no, just One Nation. Yeah.
I don't think y'all used to let me in.
We'd let you in.
I was only little. I was 14 when
do you
it
know
started.
what? I'm sure there's a lot of people that pretended or had fake IDs.
So we got in. I used to get in Jungle Fever, and I used to get in Telepathy. Right. But I never used to get in One Nation.
Right. I don't know why. But if I'd known you, at least I'd let you in.
Yeah, I know you would have. But I did look like a kid though.
But the problem was, I think then was that when did you go? It was in 95, 96?
I was Chelsea's 96, so that means I was 17 then. 92, 93.
Right. Yeah, so 93 was when we started.
That's mental. I got into my first big rave at when I was like 13, nearly 14.
Well, I met so many people. One guy I met at this thing recently made me laugh, and he was at Harrow, the private school, and he said, like, we're fully boarding, right? Which means you can't go home.
You can't go home.
So he said, we used to fucking sneak out on a Saturday night. We'd like jump over the fence and then we'd like go fucking raving.
Where did you used to go?
And like get off their nuts and then fucking come back and then climb back in over the fence, and they'd be like that in the bed on the Sunday morning for the chapel service. Or they'd be in the chapel service all like
wired. Oh my God.
And I was like, because we was very strict on the ticket. It said overratings only.
Yeah.
And if anybody...
But back then, everyone used to have a fake ID.
Yeah.
Didn't they?
There was no machines. You couldn't put them in a machine.
Yeah,
then.
You got to look
just
at
like,
it.
okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And with the So Solid crew, was it called So Solid when they were
they started out as SOS, and then someone else was called SOS, as far as I know.
Because there was it Delight FM as well? That was the radio show.
There was Delight FM, Supreme, wasn't it, back then as well? And there was another one, but I can't remember what it was called. There was another big station back then. But yeah, it was initially called SOS. I'm sure this was the story. I always get really confused because there's so much different stories, because I wasn't actually there at the very beginning. As much as I was there and their friend, I wasn't on the radio stations or any of that until I put out.
But when you was hanging around with them, when they was, on the road or whatever, before the music.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
Were they essentially like a sort of street gang? Would you say that? Or?
No, I wouldn't say we were street gang. We weren't interested in that. We was more really hyper-focused on music. It wasn't nothing to do with a gang. There was no gang. We used to defend ourselves a lot because we lived on the States. No one was having it, and there was enough of us to defend ourselves.
What I sort of meant was, if you're from that estate over there, then you'd have...
But they're from Battersea. Brixton was a bit more cliquey like that and a bit more gangster. Battersea wasn't as gangster, to be honest. I think they had their own beefs with different areas, but to be honest, there was a Brixton, faces from Brixton, Scat D's from Brixton. That wouldn't be allowed in Brixton. They wouldn't allow a Battersea boy to be in a Brixton crew. Do you know what I mean? So I think it was more relaxed in Battersea compared to Brixton. So it wasn't about that. When we all came together, I think Neutrino is Brixton as well. We all came together from different parts. Asher D's from Peckham, Oxide and that lot from Twickenham or somewhere like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's people from all over come together for this crew, and it was all friends of friends or introduced through radio stations, pirate radio station. And it was just all about the music. It only got weird when we started to become famous. And I know that's just because we became famous, and jealousy, and we were still in the same hoods. So we weren't rich, but we were famous.
So that people would look at you thinking, because straight away, as soon as someone's on top of the pops or
we weren't on top of the pops yet, we were just popular.
Yeah.
We were just known. That fame created hatred in our circles. A lot of my friends were weird with me. Not that I had many friends, it was more So Solid that were my mates. I had a baby as well, so I was kind of like doing a lot. There was no time for real friends. But it was more about just the music, but it became weird when we started to get that fame, and that fame came from us being on stages. It became on other radio stations other than our own. So our popularity was building, but we hadn't made any money yet. We wasn't able to get out of where we lived. So we were surrounded by poverty and by misfortune and people wanting the same as us, thinking we have more than we do. And as well, as a musician, is typical of Black people, but just musicians, to wear what you are. So you fit the part, you look the part before you even made it. It's fake it until you make it, basically. But it's part of your marketing package in some sense. Our first checks, we all had TTs.
I know,
Every
I remember
single
that.
one of us.
I mean, and I actually said to Mega, didn't you get Audi to sponsor you? Cause
we should have. Can you imagine if it was nowadays? We probably would have. We would have never got away with that.
They sold so many fucking them cars off the back of you.
We used to walk into Audi and walk out with a car without paying. We used to, they'll be like, I'll just drop it back, because they wanted us to have these cars. Then we used to return with a lump of cash, a bag of cash, and just give it to them. It was just like nothing. It was just so different then, and we was so popular. And our marketing strategy, I would say this, Mega was incredible at marketing. He was an absolute G at it, because he knew taking elements from different things and really overdoing it would get everyone's attention. The label was incredible at it as well. They made us do playing cards. You remember like football collection cards?
Yeah.
We had the So Solid collection cards.
I didn't see them.
Yeah, and we used to be able to get, I don't know where they used to get them.
I don't know where the kids... They're worth a few quid now.
Yeah, well, I've got a pack. I do have a pack at home.
Right.
I don't know where they used to get them from, but I know that they used to collect them and exchange them with each other to get the full crew. What an incredible idea.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we've sustained such a healthy career, because we really did our groundwork. We really made our stamp. We became a lifestyle, not just a music group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the Audis about? Because you could have any car you want. What was that? Was it just because they were
It was just
cool?
new. It was like, it was probably marketed in the right way. Probably a couple of Americans had them. We all had left hookers as well, because they weren't even made in the UK yet. We got them first, really first. Like they were left-hand drives.
Because I think that always seeing the videos with the Audi TTs. I mean, that was just a genius marketing campaign for Audi.
Well, the bowler hats, the leather, the print clothing, the So Solid branding everywhere. The stickers that we used to leave at bus stops, thousands upon thousands of stickers that we used to stick all over the streets of London for promo around our single and our album and all the rest, you know. All of that was a great contribution to the success of So Solid. And we were still grafting. Before the record deal, me and Jason, we bought a little white backfiring van from Wandsworth Bridge. You know there's a auction there. And I think we paid like 300 quid for this backfiring van. It was rotten. But we drove that all over London selling the 12-inch white labels. I mean, everywhere. We didn't sell them in the shop. We sell them outside the shop. Do you know what I mean? So, and that was, I think, again, the great start to So Solid Crew is that graft that we all had.
Well, I think also, I remember when you guys were like performing on our stuff.
Yeah.
And we used to do the tape packs. People would then go...
Tape packs as well, yeah.
They'd be like, oh, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And then when the tune... See,
When the tune actually dropped, it was already known, wasn't it?
But
Because
back then, I think what was good was you had, like you said, so much guerrilla marketing, and also you had the tape packs, you had the white labels. So you already had a community of people that would go, or they'd be in a club and hear it and go, I want that.
Yeah,
and
you had to start from the underground. You had to really nurture the underground. I think a lot of artists make that mistake, and that's why they weren't as successful, is that as soon as they get their deal, they go flying out to America, or they go straight to just Top of the Pops. We still done all the underground raves when we were famous, all the overground raves, all the underground pirate radio stations, whilst we were signed for millions of pounds. So I think that's why myself and Romeo are the most booked out of So Solid now. And we're booked every weekend. There's not a weekend off ever for the last 25 years. And if there had been, it's by choice or by default because something got cancelled.
Right.
And we've been going for 25 years straight.
That's mad, isn't it?
Mental. Last year, I think we had 149 gigs. It was fucking hell,
When
mate.
you look at it now, you probably think, wow, if someone had said to you right then, oh, this is what's going to happen, you'd be like, nah.
Bollocks.
Yeah.
Absolute bollocks. Hence why I've got so many other things going on, because I've always been shit scared that it's going to stop one day. So yeah, I think all that groundwork that we did, and we didn't forget where we come from, as they say,
So what was the biggest tune? Was it
21?
So that was the one, because I know Ono
That was the
first
biggest
one.
tune sales. Right. Definitely 21 seconds. But Ono done equally as good. It's just it weren't commercially as accepted. The massive mistake that the record label made is that they put too many remixes on the single, so it went into the album charts as a single, so it didn't chart. So that was a shame with that. But as I said, we sold thousands of copies before we even got that signed.
Yeah, because I remember, like, well, if you talk to anybody, they always go 21 seconds. When it's just that it's them too. It's So Solid that just always.
Yeah.
And it was a great video. I thought the video was really
incredible, wasn't it?
Really good.
I'm so proud, and I'll say it again, and I'm going to blow my own truth. Where's my band? Where the f is my band? Because I get my thank it. My video was the most expensive out of the whole So Solid catalogue. My first track, Oh No, off my own solo album. The video to that was 250K, I think it was, or 100. Was it 250K? Don't quote me. I'm gonna have to come back to that. But yeah, it was. I think it was like in 100Ks. And then 21 Seconds was second to that. But the videos back then, when you look back now, it looks quite amateur. But back then, it was like a movie. It was an absolute movie. What we did with our videos, and everything was shot on film. It was all real.
That must have been cool because. After the So Solid success, then how long was it before you had your own?
So we were signed with So Solid Crew in 2000, or was it 2001? 2001, the record came out, and I was signed in 2003.
Right, wicked.
Yeah.
Wicked. And then you did your album.
I did.
And how did that go?
Yeah, not bad. My first single sold 90,000 copies in the first couple of days.
And that's when 90,000 meant something.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Now,
hard copy records. It wasn't digital download. These were people had to go in the shop and buy your single. 90,000 in the first couple of days, and then I got to number 2, just 4,000 records behind Busted. Remember Busted?
Yeah, of course.
Do up fuckers. I like that song though. Fuckers. But yeah, just 4,000 behind them. It was so unfortunate. But I was proud. Number 2. It felt like number 1 to me.
Well, the thing is as well, if you look at all the other artists in So Solid, none of them individually have had a record or thing that's been that big. So
no, that's right. Yeah.
So you definitely you definitely deserve the princess of UKG.
Yeah, princess, no
or
queen,
the first lady. Yeah, the queen. Now.
I was always called first lady or the 24 karat diamond or something. I'm so very proud of that. Right. They did put me on my pedestal for all of that.
And when you was obviously you got this early fame and everything's kicking off, and like you said, with the fame come the aggravation. Because I regularly used to speak to Meg when he'd say like, we got to bring security, we got to have this, we've had people trying to do this and that. Yeah. And there was obviously the shootings were
ridiculous.
And bearing in mind that there are in England there is no you're not meant to have a go.
Oh, you should see the stories that I've put in my book about this, because there was so much happening that I think I slowly started to normalize it to feel okay, because it was fucking horrible, man. It was really horrible. There were so many scenarios that now I look back, I'm like, what? And I still went out the next weekend to the same club. Like, what the fuck is this, Lise? Do you know what I mean? And still went out with that person that was targeted. It was nothing to me. I became immune to the amount of stuff that happened.
Because we're talking 99, sort of 2002. We're talking about something that happened 24 years ago, right? And obviously it's a lot worse now. But back then, I mean, do you want to share a couple of stories with us? Just, you know, things that happened. I mean, you have to name names, but...
No, it was... do you know what, to be honest, I want to make sure that I don't incriminate people or get people in trouble. I've actually got a whole set of lawyers going through my book for the stuff that I've put in there, because there's so much and it's very graphic. But there were situations, like I went to a club called Traffic in East London. I think it's like between Shoreditch and Commercial Road, that sort of way. And we went in, it was an after party, and I was one for an after party. I prefer the after party than the actual party, because people are just having so much more fun. They're on fucking shitloads of drugs. They're steaming out their head. They're either really loving, just want to have a great time, want to stay, keep the night going, or they're the opposite, where they're violent. They end up violent because of the drugs and drink that they've taken. But equally, it was a really good time. Do you know what I mean? So me and the girls have gone down to this club in Traffic, and all of a sudden they were there. Someone runs in the club and then runs back out, and me and the girls look at each other. And I was always sober enough to go, do you know what, girls? I think it's time to go. So we've headed back outside, and as I've come up the stairs, there is a man staggering. You know, I don't know if he's been stabbed or shot or whatever's happened. All I'm thinking is, that I'm getting out of here, because if that comes inside here, we're all trapped. Now, this club was the basement of a shop, and there was one way in, one way out, basically. And I came up the stairs, and as we've turned the corner, there is a man saying, bus it, bus it, bus it, bus it, bus it. And the guy's on the floor, like, can't move, where he's in absolute fear of his life. He cannot move because there was no gun shooting, so he could have run. But this guy, by what I've learned, is that this gun had got jammed and he was trying to unjam it. And we are just shocked as well. So my friend, bless her heart, has jumped in front of me and covered me like a shield. Like, if he's going to get anyone, it's not going to be Lisa. And this boy looks straight at us. And my friend just covers me, and she's shouting, "We didn't see your face. We can't see nothing. We didn't see anything. We didn't see anything." And he's like sort of fumbling with this gun, and I'm sure he would have shot us. And he turns back around to the guy, and his gun won't work, and he butts him, and he runs off. And we run to our cars. We're out there. But in my head, I'm like, it's nothing. Like, did that really just happen? She's like, shit, let's get out of here. It's back in the cars, go home. Next weekend, maybe it wasn't probably the next weekend, a couple of weekends after, right back down that same club. Because I became immune. It became nothing, that it's going to happen if it's going to happen. Just lucky it didn't happen to us. But I just became immune from abusive relationships, from seeing things in Brixton, like rape, like not myself, but a friend got raped almost in front of me. So those situations has hardened me. I think maybe the bullying even I became immune to violence in general. And seeing that sort of scenario play out in front of me, it didn't mean anything. Just did not mean anything. And then being back in So Solid, of being a target for people trying to rob you, trace you down, you know, all these things that were happening with the boys, that I became immune.
Did anybody actually ever get robbed, or did anybody go? There
was a scenario where Mega's chain went missing, Nooch's chain had gone missing. I don't know if they were snatched off their neck, or if they were, you know, because there was always a scuffle of someone trying it, and then they don't realize how fucking big So Solid is, and all of the boys catch wind of something kicking off, and everyone swarms in like a swarm of bees.
Did you come to Windsor when we did Windsor?
Probably.
So
What, was it
actually
Garage
quite,
Nation?
Yeah, because it's quite funny
Yes, he did.
because Mega turned up and he was like, he must have had 30 people with him.
Yeah.
I said, what the fuck's going on?
What the
I said, there's
fuck
only
is
meant to be
this?
6 of you. He went, yeah, but this is security.
Security.
And he said, like, this is how
because
we
we
got roll.
needed it, but it did, because our boys, fortunately, there was only a few of them that were actually trouble in that sense of making trouble. But we never really made trouble. We was just there ready to go if anyone's tried it with us, which was 9 times out of 10.
But that's that. I think that was the problem at that time because when you was talking earlier about the music, before it changed, you know, people would actually wear suits.
Yeah.
The girls would dress
Oh
up.
my God, don't you miss them days,
It was literally like everyone made an effort. Do you know what I mean?
But can you imagine how stupid they looked when they were fighting, slipping around in their shiny shoes?
That's why they didn't fight. They had the Patrick Coxes on.
Patrick Cox, rubber soles.
They had them fucking horrible Machino tops.
Oh my God, the crazy ones.
And the thing is, there used to be a place in Thurrock in Essex.
What
Choice it was called.
Choice, yeah.
And people used to go there. And whenever I had a Garage Nation, I'd always go over there and get moshed up, right?
Yeah, get moshed up.
And I remember walking in.
Love that.
And the geezer would be going, I've got something for you. And he'd pull out all these mad fucking shirts. And I remember at the time.
The brightest, loudest you could find.
Putting them on and going like, I'm not sure this is me. Honestly, mate.
Your little wicked.
It's the one, right? and I'm sure everybody now looks back at what they're wearing thinking, like, what was I thinking?
Do you know what? Us girls kind of got away with it, but we used to shop in the market.
Right.
Like when I first started raving, we used to go East Street Market and get a little outfit, tenner, because we didn't have money. And it wasn't until we got a little bit older, Probitos was the place. Do you remember Probitos?
Where was that?
Probitos was in Central. There was loads, I think there was a few of them all over the place. But Probitos was like the place to go for click suits, for Crazy Mosh, for Iceberg, for whatever you wanted was all in there, Versace and stuff. So it was, I think I love that era, because after that is when it got darker and trainers were allowed again, but smart ones, Pradas and stuff.
I think what happened was the clothes changed and the fashion changed. And I think what happened was...
But also the age bracket, because you weren't allowed in clubs unless it was 23s and over, weren't it?
I think so. And I think what essentially happened was the crowd got younger.
Yeah.
They come in tracksuits and trainers.
Yeah.
And then it was a little bit more, I think Larry. So when you're in there, and it was all about, don't tread on my trainers. And if you tread on my trainers...
Oh my goodness me, I saw that right in front of my eyes before in a club where someone stepped back on someone because someone else pushed and he just got absolutely hammered. They used to fire shots in the air in raves. They used to just fire in the air just as the beat drops.
But that's mad. That was mad. Like somebody... So I can't remember when Jason Kay was alive.
Yes.
He was DJing somewhere. I think it was in Manchester, and he said... Like he played some tune and they started shooting the ceiling.
Yeah,
and he was like,
because it was a good tune.
Like, what the fuck? And it's like, oh no, they're showing the appreciation. And it's like, well, that's all great, but if one ricochets, I told it hit me in the head.
But again, drugs were normalized, violence was normalized, everything was normalized, because I remember that sweet smell of crack that used to be smoked in raves. It was just standard. It was part of the rave.
And the weird thing is, like, if you went to any club
it's scary in
think. London, it could be Essex, it could be Kent, it could be anywhere. All you smell is crack.
Yeah.
And you walk in
it's crazy to think we normalized raving with crackheads. Like, they could have an absolute spaz out in a minute, like just go. And that's where the violence did come from, because half of them were cracked out on crack, doing the most and losing their mind and thinking something that isn't actually happening because you're on crack, mate. Do you know what I mean? And it's scary to think that we even normalised that. Us girls, if we smelt that, we used to dart across the rave the other side, like, oh my God, and everyone would be like, and
it was
move over the
horrible,
other
wasn't it?
side.
It smelled like someone was burning plastic.
Sweetie plastic. Yeah, it was disgusting. But again, we went back to those raves and just saw it as normal. It's part of the time we was in.
And I think that's what's so funny about the rave scene back then to now, because obviously you can't smoke now.
No, can't even smoke. What would the crackheads do? They'd be jacking it up, wouldn't they? Jacking it in their bums.
Do you know what
toilet.
though? I think I genuinely do think, like, the reason the club scene, and I don't want to use the words died, right? But the reason
it's died, but it's reformed in a different light.
But the
That's
reason
what's happening.
it's got smaller, because it hasn't died, is because I think people's attitude, like when we were younger, like you said, you want to go out, you want to have fun, you want to party, you want to go to the after party, you want to go here, you want to go there.
Yeah.
But now it's sort
Keep
of
it
like,
going.
you know, people are thinking, oh, but I want to have my juice, I have my avocados with my eggs. I've got to go to the gym. I've got my job. And obviously now, you know, you drive down the road and you get pulled over, you could get drug tested.
That's you're done.
When you're at work, you can get drug tested.
Yeah.
So I think now
you lost your job, your car, and then you know what I mean?
There's a lot of reasons, you know, if you take drugs, you might lose your job, you might get arrested, you might lose your driving license.
Yeah.
So I think people's attitude, I mean, people still take drugs, obviously.
Of course they do, yeah.
I don't think it's as rife as it used to be. And I think...
No, I think the party scene in general has changed. I think people want experiences. They don't want the normal rave anymore. It's kind of died out. And I think there's not many subgenres from things anymore. There's no, because garage is still much alive, but we purposely shout out the years when we're in our raves. We do Butlins, weekenders sometimes, right? And we ask them, who's born in 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s? And I'm telling you, is an equal amount of each age, all mixed together. There will be someone there like 60s and there will be someone in their 50s. Do you know what I mean? There's no real nightlife because everyone's either over it, done it, and the new gen kids, they don't even communicate letting them go out.
That's the mad thing. Like I've seen that.
Because we started that. We were young when we started. You know, you started when you was young doing the rave scene. And so did we start raving when we were young. But these kids don't rave.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I just think it's social media in general. I think it's also there isn't the under 18 raves that we once had. We had under 18 raves, under 16 raves, under 18 raves.
They got them ready, didn't they?
They got rid of them. I mean, they're good and bad. But that's that. And then they don't communicate together. They communicate through social media and their phones. They have no sense of need to meet up because I can FaceTime you from my bedroom in the comfort of my home with no money as well. They want money for everything. We didn't need money. We just went out and we run home for a drink and to go away. And we run out again and we come back for a packet of crisps and then come back for dinner and then go back out again. Right. They want takeaways.
Yeah, or fine dining.
Fine dining,
yeah,
because it's part of their fancy lifestyle that they've painted for themselves. And if they can't do that, then they just stay in and communicate by their phones and FaceTime each other.
I think the funniest thing I saw was I went to a restaurant. It was a nice restaurant.
Yeah.
And I was sat down.
On their phone.
And I was literally just having a conversation.
Yeah.
And there's a big table. It must be 20. Yeah. And I say kids, they're probably not kids. They're probably 20s, like 18, 20s, whatever. Yeah. And they all sat down. And as soon as they sat down, they went.
Phones up. Yeah. I watched a couple for 2.5 hours between me and my mate having dinner, drinking wine. We put our phones away when we're out because it's very easier. No, but it's easy to quickly check or check the text. So we put it away for just our time because it's not often we get to meet up. And we watched this couple for 2.5 hours speak probably a handful of times, eat their food, take pictures of their food, take selfies of themselves, and then leave. They didn't fucking talk to. They didn't even talk to each other.
That's crazy.
I was like, is this for real? Like, they're a couple. I would kick him in the face. I would be so angry with him. I would literally throw my dinner at him and leave if he sat on his phone that long. I would be so pissed off. No conversation, but that is their good night out in their head. So I guess that's where the rave scene has struggled because nobody has that need to go out. We saw other people and that's what we craved. We wanted to socialize. Now they socialize on social media and it's not even sociable.
It's mad, isn't it?
Mental.
Crazy. And when you go back to, like you said, you was in the middle of the So Solid, madness.
Yeah.
When Asher D got arrested and he had
Asher D, what year is that? That's
because he had a firearm, didn't he? And I think he was outside the Astoria.
Sorry?
He had a firearm, didn't he? He was outside the Astoria.
Yeah.
And he ended
I think he was just out with his girl at the time, I think.
But
it was a parking warden.
So how bad it got though? Because you were literally all being targeted.
Yeah, I mean, I guess nowadays they all carry knives, but back then it was firearms, I guess. But he was under pressure, man. He was under pressure. There was a lot coming his way. And I don't particularly think it was him that wanted to carry it. He was forced to carry that by the scenarios that happened in the people around him, advising him. and just life. Just
But the thing is, if
getting
you
the best
become
better of him.
a prominent music artist or
Yes.
whatever,
Yeah.
and obviously if you're a rapper, right, and you're, from the hood or in the hood or whatever, and, you're in that world, it's like 50 Cent, all these people, they can't, 50 Cent can't walk around Compton or Brooklyn and just on his own.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because someone might see him and go, I'm gonna fucking
But that's
do
the difference. We weren't afraid to walk around on our own. But then
but that's what I mean. But if you're going to do that, but if you're going to do that, you have to. It's like I was talking to someone the other day who was a gang member, and she actually said to me, because I asked her about knife crime, and I said it's really bad now. Even the kids are carrying them. How do you solve it? And she said, well, you can't, because she said if you're in that life, you're on that estate, and you're not carrying, somebody else is carrying, and they go like that. You're. So she said they carry it for defence and they will use it. And and they're, in their minds, they're thinking, well, if you want to stab me, I'm going to stab you.
Yeah.
You're not going to get me.
I've just got to try.
So you got to think, so I fully understand why, if you're a target, and what happened with the traffic warden then?
I think he pulled it out on the traffic warden, but again,
see, that's what happens when you give a Sonic Crew a parking ticket.
Watch it. I think it was just, again, it was a history of having to deal with so much and being almost targeted and bullied and just people onto you all the time, trying their luck to come against you. And the anger that must have built up in Ashley, I don't know for sure, but I know I was angry when I left school and was bullied all the way through. And I did end up very angry. And my reaction at the end of that primary school was to beat the life out of this girl, because I was just so angry that she'd done this to me and made school sad when I loved it, And it must have been the same for Asha. It must have been the same for Ashley. It must have been so hard to continuously walk out your door and think, what's going to happen today? Who might see me? And the nerves that it must have given him. And it's not an excuse to pull it out on a traffic warden of all people.
How annoying that.
But they are fucking annoying. Give it that. But no, it's, I mean, I don't know whether this, and that's, again, the aggression in the world, you don't know who you're speaking to. So I'd say leave fucking people alone. You don't know what anyone's going through. Leave them alone. They could kill themselves or they could try and kill you. Shut up and leave people alone. You don't know what someone's going through. And this, you don't know. I don't know what happened exactly word for word. But I could imagine this fucking parking warden giving it some to make Ashley get to that point of feeling aggression.
Does he still do a lot with the social crew now? Or is he sort of stepped out of it?
No, he's busy. That guy, I mean, he's a superstar.
I mean, as an actor, he's killing it. But
he's absolutely
I didn't know
killing
if he ever come back and did a bit,
No, he hasn't done anything with us for a while, for a long while, yeah. I say us, I haven't done anything with So Solid for the past 3-4 years as well.
Right, okay.
I've kind of just been cracking on doing my own stuff. I'm so bloody busy.
So you're sort of just doing your Lisa Maffia stuff?
Yeah, I do my Lisa Maffia stuff. I'm booked and busy. I'm a DJ as well now, so I've got those jobs as well. Loving that. And then mainly work with Romeo or Oxide and Trino.
Right, amazing. And after the Asha D incident where obviously you got put in jail, there was an issue, wasn't there, with because we actually got told you can't book the So Solid crew.
Oh my God, that was just terrible that time. Yeah.
And what was the cause of that? Was it just that because they tried to ban all the crews, didn't they? Because
they banned all of So Solid for sure.
Because we had because there was I remember the Heartless crew were performing at Reading and there was a shootout in the club, like the fucking Wild West.
Always used to happen.
And then I remember like getting a call from. Because obviously the Coliseum went.
Yes.
And then there was only a few clubs you could do.
So they started reaching out of London, innit?
No, but they come to you and they go, oh, you give us this date. What night's it going to be?
Yeah,
oh, it's going to be at Gary's Nation. Can you send us the
What was that form called that you used to have to fill out?
Do you know what? I can't remember, but it wasn't us. It was a club because the club had the license.
Yeah.
So the club would contact us and say, what is the night? And you'd be like, it's Gary's Nation.
Yeah. Who are you going to book?
Line up.
Yeah.
Right. And then it'd be literally like, the computer says no. Do you know what I mean?
Computer says no.
But that's the other reason why I come out of it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, if I can't book who I want,
yeah,
and I can't promote how I want to promote,
yeah,
and I've got these handcuffs on, and there's all the clubs are being redeveloped or sold.
Yeah.
I thought in a minute I'm not going to have
a business, not have a career. Well, so it all started getting messy with G-Man going to prison for gun charges, and then Asher D going to prison for gun charges. There was lots of different shootings and scenarios that had happened. A story had happened. There's lots of things that had happened around So Solid with So Solid, and they banned us from playing anywhere in the UK. We was not allowed to play nowhere. Fortunately for me, I was just going into my solo career, and my management, which was also So Solid management, turned around to me and said, "Do not say you are So Solid."
Which
and I was like, "What?" Being from the ghetto, knowing about loyalty and respect, I weren't gonna say that. But had I say that, the conversations used to automatically turn to Asher D being in prison, G-Man being in prison, all these people that had died or been shot at our race. It started turning into that party. Instead, I had to say, I'm former So Solid, and I'm not here to talk about So Solid. I'm here to talk about my new single, Thank You. And that's what the route was for me for the next 4 years.
I suppose it was a little bit like in the late 80s when sort of first come out and people were dancing in fields and everyone was getting off their nuts, and in the papers it was like, do not take ecstasy, it could kill you, the Killeries and all this stuff. And it's probably the same with what you went through. There's two people in the So Solid crew that have
done so wrong.
There's people that have been shot at So Solid where they performed. They must all be carrying guns and they must all be killing each other. So I know it's terrible to stereotype like that. But I think for them, it's an easy thing. Let's just do this. Let's just ban them.
The police went wrong to slow down the pace of what we were going, because it wasn't So Solid. It was the people attending.
You had no control over that.
And we had no control over that.
We had the same thing. We had, there was... whether you were twice as nice to Costa Nostra, Garage Nation, or whatever it was, there was fucking egg, and it wasn't anything to do with who was playing. Very easy to say, the music.
It's scapegoating, isn't it?
Music made them do it. That artist.
But it was right. So this is where I say they're not completely wrong, because it was the music that was doing it, because they were all following the sound. But it wasn't because of So Solid. So there weren't no reason to ban us from doing a concert. It wasn't no reason for us to do whatever else. We got banned from everything. That's TV, radio, everything. And again, that would be what we call now counselling. It was the council culture of its day.
And when So Solid crew got cancelled, did they actually write to you?
No, but there was like Trident back then, wasn't there? There was Trident. Yeah, there was Trident. There was them forms, and I can't remember what that form was called. I'll try and remember what that's called. But there was a form that you had to fill out. So every time So Solid was on there, it was completely shut down, because anybody that would allow us to play would lose their license, because there was the risk of that. So I was on my solo journey at that point, and I remember getting to Watford area, and I walked to the door, and there was metal detectors. And back then, I had the Katie Price Jordan back then, belt-sized skirt. And I mean, it's like a fucking belt. There was nothing of it. It's about that big. And then I had an Agent Provocateur buskier on. It was almost see-through. You could see my nips. There was nothing on me. They fucking searched me. And that's when I knew.
That must have been a bit awkward.
Awkward. Like, you're not touching there. They went around my belt skirt, which was like a belt. And literally, it was about that big. The shorter, the better back then. And I got searched, and I just thought, this is madness. This is madness. Like, I can understand them searching the boys, but a woman that is the star of the actual show here tonight is walking to the door butt naked, basically, and you're still going to church just in case, because the fear of that scene at that time was so big that they had to. They felt they had to.
When we was doing, obviously, Garage Nation and One Nation.
Yes.
And I'd say from probably 96, 97, right up to 2003, it just increased. The knife crime increased, the gun crime increased. It just got worse and worse. And we got to the point where if you'd have come to one of their raves as a punter, now you'd have filed for sexual assault, because they'd literally grab you They take your shoes
Rub
off.
you up.
They like grab,
Yeah.
like, because the thing is, the girls would put things in their bras. They put actually things up their asses or whatever.
Lord
It was terrible, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, that's why you had to put them through the metal detector.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that.
And then
with my
once
own eyes.
they go through, if it goes off, it's like, have you got anything on your person? And they take them to a fucking side room and strip search them. Do you know what I mean? Because and for us, it was like, we touch wood, right? We never had anybody shot or anybody killed on any of our raves.
Yeah.
But there was very close, like,
it was always
very
down the
close.
road from the rave, around the corner. As I said, the boys became gangster in that sense, in that frame of what the police would look at with carrying guns, knives to protect themselves, because it was happening everywhere. This wasn't just because it's So Solid. It was the time that we was in. It was nothing to do with So Solid. They carried guns so other people did. We were the influence. No, it was because that was the time we was in. And we came from that same place everyone else did and became famous. That is all that happened. We were a bunch of bloody kids. We were kids. We were kids. In the sense, most of us were under 21. We were kids with shitloads of money and a need to protect ourselves and no education of better. Our management didn't give a shit about us in any respect because they would have advised us better. They didn't. Our parents didn't know better because they came from poverty as well.
I suppose when you make it, whether it's massive or middle or just a little bit, nobody really has the manual for fame.
No.
Oh, you're famous though. You're rich.
I was lucky. I ended up with G-Man. That was from Jamaica. He's born and raised in Jamaica. So he had that, we're going to buy a house, because that was a dream of his, where we had a lot of handouts. When we have the government funding, when you got no money and you get a council house, and you don't have that in Jamaica. So they aspire to have. So I was fortunate to be with him because he was the one that said, no, we're buying a house. And we bought our first house together in Forest Hill. That helped me to buy my second, my third, my fourth, you know? So with that said, I was very lucky to make them decisions at very young. But the boys, how would you know? How would you know to buy? How would you don't even imagine having the money you've got money, but why would you in your head say, I'm going to give £200,000 of my money to somebody and I'm going to get some bricks and water, but I've got a council house. You know, I've got a house that I rent. Why do I need to have that stress? I don't need to give them all my money. And in your head as well, you think, I know I did. I thought my money would last forever because I've never seen that number before in my bank.
Well, the thing is, when you get any amount of money, you always think, wow, there's going to be more. You never think it's going to stop.
I had £600,000 at 20 years old.
Wow.
I didn't think that could end.
Yeah.
You're looking at how am I going to spend that? I remember there was a point in my career where I wanted to get rid of that money because I wanted normality back. And I thought once the money goes, I can go back to normal, because it became very stressful and very sad in my world, you know. As much as I was having success, there was lots of other things happening.
Right.
So I just thought, get rid of the money and then I can go back to normal, because that normal world seems so peaceful and so nice. Right. You know, so lovely, like to have nothing and just graft a little, having that normal life. Like that's what I thought it was, a normal life, and this is just wild. Now I can walk out my door and someone's taking a picture. What do you mean? I can't go nowhere? What? Do you know what I mean? I can't go to my normal clubs and get absolutely trolleyed. No? Oh shit! I'll be putting a press tomorrow.
Got to be sensible.
Got to be sensible. Do you know what I mean? So it's those things that once I went into my career, I was seeing a whole new picture of what it would look like as a famous person. Right. It all changed.
And then when the band lasted for 4 years.
Yes.
But you was doing your solo stuff.
Yes.
And then when the 4-year ban ended, was it like the crew got back together again, or was it?
No, so it was 2013. We had done our very first ever concert, our own one, a tour date. And it was supposed to go on to many more. And it all went left because everyone was getting a bit, I think there were certain people involved. They're too damn greedy. They haven't got sense. Didn't pay certain people, so no one wanted to work for us again. And it oversold, fortunately. It was at Indigo in O2.
In Kentish Town?
No, in O2 London.
Oh, what? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was wicked, man. It was so good. It was the very first time we had done a concert. And we'd done concerts. We're on tour, by the way. We'd done it with Christina Aguilera and Java and Ashanti. Me and Maria had done Java and Ashanti, and So Solid had done Eminem and Christina Aguilera support acts. So we'd toured. We'd done a tour before, but we'd never done a So Solid concert.
What was Java and Shana
They were
like?
wicked, man.
Wicked.
Good fun. It was a good tour. It was a good circle. It was me and Romeo and the two girls, Fug Angel and Tigress there. It was good fun, man. Really, really good fun. Really good fun. They were, easy going. So yeah, we did that. And then Christina Aguilera tour was the whole of Europe, which was fun. Not fun, but shit. I hated being with them lot all that while, to be honest.
So I suppose it's just work then, isn't it? People
just
get on your
work,
nerves.
yeah, just work, get up, do your job, go home. That was it. I was actually coming into my own as well at that point as a solo artist. So I had to fly back to collect my MOBA award and go back on tour. Unfortunately, I didn't do the Eminem tour because I had some health issues and I ended up hospitalized. So I just didn't get to go on that tour. And then it was the first one we did, 2013 we did O2. And then I think was it the same year or the year after? I'm not entirely sure. We did it again, but I didn't go because there was some discrepancies about money and stuff. So I just didn't bother to go. And it was awesome. That was a very good tour. It was very emotional. It was liberating. It was lots of different things, lots of different emotions I had about that.
And when you got your
event.
MOBA, what was the MOBA award for?
So it was is it best UK act? No.
Right.
So, I can't remember.
Would
Best
it count?
Garage Act. No, it's Best Garage Act. It was
Wicked.
Best Garage Act. Funny enough, right, it still boggles my mind because I only had a couple of tracks that were garage on my album. The rest was R&B. And I got the Best Garage Act and they played one of my R&B songs and I really wanted to laugh. I really wanted to laugh and say something about it, but I had a really important message to say on MOBAs because I was bringing through North Star and I brought home a girl that went missing called Asata. So I called her out and said, thank you for coming home. This one's for you. And I also put North Star on the map at MOBAs. But it cracked me up that he played one of my R&B tunes and I was going up for the Best Garage. I was sort of like, this is fucking weird. But anyway, thank you.
So really from that point onwards, from 2014, you kind of you haven't really done much with the So Solid crew.
No, so I did do a few shows with them. So I became my own agent 18 years ago. Right. I decided to do that because things started to dry up. And as you know, when management are getting all the calls, they love all that because they're getting all your money. But when it stops ringing, they don't want to do no bloody work, do they? So they stopped picking up the phone. So I started picking up the phone myself. I used to pretend I was my own agent and just put on a voice or do an email that on behalf of myself and started just going around different events and collecting data and then just phoning each one of them up and just saying, Lisa Maffia is available for bookings. And it started working. At that time I was in my own solo loop. But as I was going along, so was Romeo in his solo album tour and stuff, a promotion. So certain shows we would go to, we went to Mallorca, Magaluf.
It's good there,
we
mate.
went there for like nearly, I think 9 years straight, every weekend. He used to do a weekend and I used to do a weekend. And after about 4 or 5 years, it started going a bit quiet at our raves and other raves were getting more busier. So the guy was like, look, we can't afford to do this anymore. And I was turned to him. It was still being booked I left that last one with my management. And they said, unless you can take on the booking, we're not going to book you anymore because their fees on top of your fee is too much. So I was like, first time I found out how much they were bloody costing, how much we were costing and how much we was actually getting. And then, so I took it on. I said, don't worry, you can book it through me. And he was like, you sure? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So out of respect, I went home and told management what had happened and that we're going to lose the booking if we don't take it direct. So they were fine with that. And I think I even paid them a little 10% out of the back end of that just to make face, out of respect. Because we had a good run out of them, you know. And then 2 or 3 years later again, they was like, we can't do it no more. And I said, well, how about putting me and Romeo together?
Yeah, good idea.
Like, let's do it together because we can share. You don't have to pay so much. There's not 2 wages. We'll cut our wage to make it work. We won't bring extra people so that Romeo has people on his show and I have people on mine. So you don't have to pay for all them hotels. You only have to get our flights and our tour manager. It's as simple as a no-brainer. They were like, hell yeah. So again, me and Romeo, that's where we started. We started doing the duo there. And then I just sort of played with it. I just sort of seen if anyone else wanted it, put some photos together, put a playlist together, and people just started booking it. And it just started happening. And the more it was happening, when Romeo did something big with his career, it made more gigs for us. And when I did something with my career solo, it made it better for us as well. So it just started building this sort of unit that we become the mini So Solid, like, because we were doing all of our own solo stuff, all of So Solid stuff, because we share a lot of tracks on the album, So Solid album together as well. And we've got solo stuff together. So it just worked.
Right.
And it just started building from there, really.
Amazing. So that's kind of what you've been doing
since,
but
with the So Solid brand in general,
But now, like we're in 2026, and Lisa's like when I rang you the other day and you went, got all this stuff going on. I was like, for now. And you know, it's impressive. But I mean, I love to share with our audience, you know, some of the things you've got happening this year.
Yeah. So where do I start? So for a long time, I've had an interior design company called Lisa Maffia, and I do lots of properties with that. And I'm thinking I might actually start developing that because I'm getting old, you know, T.
Right.
And you know,
I can see you with a little hard hat on.
Yeah, I do. So I'm thinking to actually extend that, but that's something that's on the back burner, but it's there. And then I've got my book coming out very soon.
What's it called?
I don't know yet. And I think it's probably going to be...
I don't know yet.
I think it's going to be Through Her Eyes or... Yeah, Through Her Eyes, I think. I don't know. I'm going to have to decide. Once it's come to that promo point, I think that's when I'll go, right, I know it. It's like a song. You might not even call it the chorus, what it is on the chorus, because usually a song's called after what the chorus is. But sometimes you just find this other name that just makes fucking sense.
Well, the thing is, whenever we put this out, even if we put it out before the book, when the book comes out, we can drop the link underneath.
That'd be brilliant.
Yeah, some people, but Lisa Maffia's got a book coming out. And it's going to obviously go right into the details of the whole thing.
No, it really is. It was a therapy session, to say the least. I've cried, I've laughed at myself, I've cried about things, and I've had to heal from some things. And it's been a real bloody journey because I've seen some shit too. And I do, as I said, I've got a bunch of lawyers that are helping me get through it because there are so many real scenarios that happened that you've got to be careful how much detail you actually give because it's messy. It's very messy on that.
Someone told me, as long as you don't know the names and you change the location
and I don't
dates.
actually know the names of some people. Right. I just witnessed things, and fortunately for me, those people got caught. So, but I still wouldn't want to put that out there, you know. I wouldn't want to put it out. One, I'm not a snitch, and secondly, I definitely wouldn't want to be involved in, that case.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll leave it to the book.
And you're and you've also just got a big radio gig, haven't you?
Yes, I've just signed my contracts to earlier this year with Capital FM. Yeah, got my own show on there. I always wanted to do radio. I wanted to always be, see what it'd be like on the other side of the mic. Controlling the airways is a passion of mine because I think music can take your day different places. And every time I do play on radio, I think to myself, I hope I'm making someone's day. I hope I'm making someone smile, bring back a really good memory. Because every time I do that and listen to music where I feel sad or really happy, I stick on a certain track and it just brings back this incredible feeling. So yeah, that's why I'm on there.
And what is it a daily show? Is it weekly?
Yeah, it's weekly. Sundays 12 till 4.
There
when
you
you
go.
got a hangover, get out, just put the radio
Love that.
on.
Put it on, sit back, relax.
Sit back and relax.
Put a smile on your face.
Yes.
Get the tissues ready in case you put the sad one on.
Yeah, I do that time.
And when does that start?
That starts in April 12th.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I done my very first show for Capital on New Year's Day. I'd done a takeover. And I loved it so much. I walked out there and a week later they had called me and said, Lisa, we really want you to do a continued show. And I was like, oh my God, how fortunate am I?
that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
So you got books, radio shows. You and Romeo doing your little club night still.
Yeah.
And is there anything else that you want to achieve? Because would you think you've pretty much done it all now?
Well, I'm a DJ now. So I want to be a superstar DJ.
Right. You want to be the Calvin Harris of South London?
I do. I actually do.
Right.
And there's not many garage girls that are DJs.
Are you going to play garage?
I play house and garage.
Right, wicked.
Yeah, I play really old school garage though. The real stuff that we used to play down in York places too. And I love it. I love it. And I do think to myself, because my performances are still really high energy, and luckily I'm quite fit still. I've still got the energy and I still absolutely love what I do. And I don't think I'm ever not going to love what I do, but I do think that one day I'm going to get a bit old.
So what do you do to keep yourself in shape? Do you go running, gym?
I walk 2 miles every day with my dogs. I walk every single day without fail because of them, but also for health. I do my weights training. I eat, I'm conscious of what I eat. I don't drink too much. I don't stay up late. I just do the standard stuff. I don't do too much. I think it's genetics. I'm very fortunate. My mum's, she looks beautiful still, hitting 70, and she looks absolutely stunning, really in shape still. But I just think it's just, you can't overindulge in anything, whether that's gossip, drugs, alcohol, going out, staying up late, social media, whatever it is, don't overdo it.
Moderation is the word.
Moderation.
Right. And through the beginning of your life to today, if you look at, if someone said to you now, Lisa, I'm thinking of doing what you did, or I want to be whatever, what advice would you give them? Would you, what are your...
You always get answers, and it always changes for me because I always learn something new. But that may be the point, is that keep learning. If you are doing music and you want to aspire to be a musician or a businesswoman or whatever it is, learn. Learn something. Keep learning, and don't think that you know it all. Never think that you know it all. There's always something else to add to your craft. And just have absolutely the balls of steel, mate. Like, because people are always going to tear you down, especially when you're doing good. Soon as you're doing good, people want to come against you. I've had it within my crew. I've had it outside my crew. I've had it from strangers, from the media. They want to tear you down once you're doing good. But guess what? There also are them fuckers that come when you are doing good and not when you're on your climb. So just have your wits about you. Keep on learning. Keep adding to your craft and believe in yourself.
Right, wicked. Well, I've really enjoyed having you on the show, Lisa.
Thank
I think you've been
you.
amazing. And thanks for sharing your words of wisdom with us as well.
Thank you very much.
I think when people watch podcasts and or listen to podcasts, they always want to take something away. Do you know what I mean?
Inspired.
And I think, everybody wants a hack or the shortcut. But I think what you said, you can follow these words and, you can achieve anything you want. And look at you, you're a glamorous grandmother.
I am a glam granny. A glam granny that's done well from Brixton.
And you're still killing it.
And I'm
is good.
still here. I'm not going nowhere, T.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so
and I'll
much.
make sure, we put all the links down below. And if you want to follow Lisa Maffia, where do they need to go?
I'm on most social medias at Lisa Maffia UK.
Wicked. There you go. So you can follow her and find out the up-to-date news and what Lisa's doing. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Terry Stone Connection. Lisa Maffia, what an amazing guest. They don't call her the G of UKG for nothing. Make sure you tune in next week. We've got another fantastic guest. Make sure you're liking, make sure you're subscribing, and we will see you on the other side.